Okay, it seems that some muscle heads out there can't seem to figure out their deltoids from their mathematical derivation, so let's learn a few things, shall we? If you think that someone who can bench 1,000 pounds is the man, you should really look at what this person is doing. Now, I could just throw out a bunch of basic physics equations at you, but if you are the average weightlifter, your brain would simply shut down at anything more complicated than a multiplication sign. So let's start simply. A good place to begin is trying to understand what you are seeing when someone moves a weight. This is a demonstration of power. This is not some kind of magic power. This is power represented by the equation P equals W divided by T. Now, I know that you are already confused since I haven't yet mentioned creatine, HGH, or urine samples, but it is actually very straightforward. The power generated by a person comes from the amount of work that they can do in a given time. Lots of work done in a short amount of time is equal to a lot of power. Lots of work done over a long period of time is equal to less power. Think of it this way, muscle brain. A car with a lot of torque, which is a measure of power, can cover a quarter mile in about 12 seconds. But a car with very little torque might need 4 times as long to go the same distance. That makes the sports car more powerful. Well, that's not so bad, is it? Now think of it this way. If you can curl 50 pounds, but it takes you 10 seconds to complete a rep, and your buddy can curl 50 pounds, but it only takes him 3 seconds to complete it, he is more powerful than you. So you're thinking you have this sorted out now, don't you? Well, it's not that simple. Work is not just W. It's made up of 2 parts. W equals F times D. That means that the work, W, is made up of force, F, times distance, D. Now, I know that your brain is slowly oozing out of your ears there, Iron Monkey, but try to follow this basic idea. How far you move the weight matters, as does how long it takes you to move it. So if Gene Richlack, whatever his name is, Jr., I have no idea how to pronounce that, benches 1,000 pounds, but the weight only moves a total of 3 feet, and that includes the lowering motion at the beginning, in about 11 seconds, he is producing less power than someone that benches 220 pounds and moves at 4.5 feet and does it in 5.5 seconds. What's that, musclehead? You think I'm cheating somehow with the magic powers of mathematical equations? You fear that I'm bamboozling you with learning? Oh, watch. Again, power equals mass times acceleration times distance divided by time. For Richlack Jr., the mass is 455 kilograms, multiplied by an average acceleration of roughly 0.3 meters per second, and that's me being pretty generous. You multiply that by a distance of 1 meter, divided by a total movement time of about 11 seconds. I'm taking this all from his video of him benching 1,010 pounds or so on YouTube before he started asking me where my numbers came from. If you do all the math from that, you will see that this Richlack fellow produces 12.4 Newton meters per second of power, which translates to 9.2 foot-pounds per second, or about 0.016 horsepower. Well, how does this stack up to someone that can only bench 220 pounds? Well, if the guy doesn't have the ridiculously overgrown pectoral muscles of a professional powerlifter that inhibit the distance that he can actually make the weight travel, and if he can move the weight at a reasonable speed, say twice that of what Richlack can, he actually comes out pretty well. Again, P equals M times A times D divided by T. For a theoretical person, the mass he moves is only 100 kilograms, multiplied by an average acceleration of about 0.5 meters per second, moved over a much more human distance of 1.5 meters, divided by a swifter lower and lift of only about 5.5 seconds, and it gives us the following numbers. 13.6 Newton meters per second, or 10.1 foot-pounds per second, or about 0.018 horsepower. Now, if you concentrate really, really hard there, meathead, you might notice that those numbers are all higher than what the world record holder in the bench press can produce. That means that if your arms are long enough to allow a total travel of roughly 4.5 feet up and down, and you can do a single bench press at 220 pounds in less than 6 seconds, you are producing more power than the holder of the world record in bench pressing. Now, I am not saying that it isn't impressive when someone benches over 1,000 pounds, but it's also impressive when someone operates 2 yo-yos simultaneously or when someone can eat his own face.